In this episode, we're talking about following up before and after a job interview, business cards for networking, and what's the trickiest, stupidest job interview question I've been asked. Hey, what's up? How's it going, everybody? And welcome to episode number 4 of So What, where I answer your job interview, career-related, or resume-related questions for all the college students and recent graduates out there. Thank you guys for your questions. And remember, if you want a question answered on the show, make sure you use the hashtag SOWHAT. That's SOHWHAT. Thank you all for who all submitted their questions. I appreciate you all. Things have been good over here at Secrets of the Hire. As I mentioned in the last episode, been working on a lot of stuff, been working on a lot of partnerships. I have a career fair coming up in which I'm going to go out to Atlanta, and I'm going to try to network with a bunch of companies out there who's hiring and try to get them on board with the Secrets of the Hire job board and stuff like that. So a lot has been happening, been putting in a lot of work, a lot of hours, really grinding it out. The podcast has been doing extremely well. For those of you who don't know, I released the 7-minute job interview podcast. It's doing extremely well. It's getting about 1,000 downloads every single day. That's where we're averaging right now. I just launched it the end of last month, and it's been doing extremely well. So thank you guys for everyone who supported the podcast. The Secrets of the Hire podcast is doing extremely well. And yeah, man, things are good. And oh yeah, real quick, the 7-minute job interview podcast is just a very quick, short form, thing in which I'm answering job interview questions. For those of you who don't like the longer form interview style that Secrets of the Hire podcast gives you, then you can listen to the 7-minute job interview podcast. I'll link it up or show a picture somewhere so you guys can check it out. So with that being said, I'm really excited to jump into these questions. If you couldn't tell, I'm using on my camera, I have the 60 frames per second. Let me know if there's any difference between this and my previous episode. So with that being said, let's jump into question number 1.
Should I follow up with an employer after applying for a job or with the interviewer post-interview? How?
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, now, the short answer is both. You need to do both. Now let's jump in what you need to do first. Now, you asked about following up after you apply for a job. Okay, let's say that you apply for a job using, Indeed, Monster, Simply Hired, Secrets of the Hire, what have you, okay? Now, I know I'm always against job boards, and I say don't use job boards as your main source, but you can apply for them, okay? Use job boards because that's what employers want you to do. Otherwise, they wouldn't post the jobs on the job board. Okay, so here's how you follow up. You apply for the job via Indeed, via Secrets of the Hire, or whatever. Now, it doesn't stop there. A lot of people just apply for a job on these job boards and go to the next job. Don't do that. Now you need to go to LinkedIn, find the company, okay? Find that company. Now, it's easy. Go to the Advanced tab on LinkedIn. You hit Advanced, and you'll see a list that comes up in which you can sort of filter your search, okay? You go to company. Go to company, type in the company name, XYZ company. When you type that in, all of the people who have LinkedIn profiles associated with that company is going to come up. All of the people, okay? Now, if it's a big company, you don't want to sift through everything, okay? So, there's a keyword tab on your search bar on LinkedIn. It says keyword, okay? So, type in recruiter, type in human resources, or let's say you're going for a logistics position. Type in logistician, type in logistics, okay? So, people related to that is going to come up, okay? So when you type these in, because ultimately you don't know who posted the job, you don't know exactly who's hiring for it, and this way you can find out. So I'll find out recruiter. I'll find a recruiter by typing in recruiter under that company. I'll reach out to them. I'll reach out to the logistician, because this is a logistics job. So obviously whoever is associated with the logistics field, they know someone who's hiring, or they may be the one hiring for the position. I'll type in human resources. That way we can reach out to HR, the administrative assistant. So one of these people know, if not all of them know, that they are looking for a logistician in order to work for their company. So I'll reach out to all of them with a very customized message. I'll say, hey, this is Dan. I applied for the logistics management specialist position via Indeed.com, but I know sometimes that resumes can get tied up in job boards, so I wanted to reach out to you directly in order to be considered for this position. Now, I'll say, can you refer this to the person who's hiring for the position? Or if it's the person who's making the hiring decision, can you please consider my resume in order to be a candidate for this position? And then also, in my email, if I'm emailing the person who's hiring for the position, I'll even say, I would like to come in this Thursday. How does that sound? Does that sound reasonable? You know, always end with a question. That way they, you know, they feel like they have to answer you in some way. Okay, so I'll reach out to them. I'll reach out to Susie in HR or Marilyn in the logistics position. And I'll say, hey, you know, I'd like to come in and speak more about how I can be an asset to your company. How does Thursday around 2 p.m. sound? Be very direct, okay? Because you want to end with a question, as I mentioned, because you want them to feel like they have to get back to you. And you know, maybe they read and say, okay, well, Thursday doesn't work. How does Wednesday at 5 p.m. sound? Or how does Tuesday at 11 p.m. sound? They may come back to you with that, or they may say, okay, we'll take your resume into consideration. And don't forget to attach your resume, so make sure you do that. Okay, so all in all, wrapping all that up, after you apply for a job via whatever job board you choose, follow up on LinkedIn, okay? Follow up on LinkedIn. And in order to do so, your LinkedIn profile has to be filled out. A lot of you don't fill out your LinkedIn profile. It's completely blank. You throw stuff up on there. See, that's why I always push for LinkedIn. A lot of you are not on LinkedIn. A lot of you don't use the platform. And so when you reach out to these employers via LinkedIn, they're going to look at your profile and say, okay, this person didn't take the time to invest in their own personal brand, and they're reaching out to me. I'm not going to consider this person. They don't even have a LinkedIn profile that's filled out. Okay? A lot of people make this mistake and they wonder why they don't hear anything back from the employer. Okay? So definitely use LinkedIn, but your profile has to be filled out. Okay? And I got the course, the Watch Me Get a Job Interview course. I teach you how to do that entire process. Now for the second part of this question, following up post-interview. First thing, make sure you get the business cards of everyone you came into contact with on that day. The receptionist, like everyone. The receptionist, everyone who walked you to different meetings, because sometimes you may have multiple interviews in a day. I can remember I had 4 job interviews, and 4 interviews in one day. Okay, and I got the business cards of each and every one of those people. Even the receptionist. Like, you'll be surprised as to the effect a receptionist or the admin assistant can have on you actually getting the jobs. But anyway, following up, make sure you send a customized thank you letter to each and every person who helped you out during the job interview, who took the time to speak to you about the position. Okay, so follow up everyone, every single person. Okay, it takes the extra effort, but you definitely want to do that. Okay, and if you need a sample, or you know, or on how a thank you letter should look, make sure you email me at davon@secretsofthehire.com. I'll be sure to email that out to you. I have a couple of versions that you can use, but you have to tailor them, okay? Tailor them specifically to what happened during your job interview and things like that. See, what you don't want to do is just send any old thing, okay? It has to be customized to that person, how they made an impact on you, what information they gave you, and things like that. So you have to make sure that it's customized. Okay, so to break this question down, the first part, following up after you apply for the job, use LinkedIn. The second part, following up post-interview. Make sure you got everyone's business cards and follow up specifically. Okay, their email address is going to be on there. Send all of them a custom letter or note or whatever you want to send them. Make sure it is customized. All right, that was a mouthful. Let's go to question number 2.
What's the trickiest, stupidest, or hardest question you've received during the interview, and how did you answer?
All right, this is a really cool question. All right, so me personally, I've never been asked anything that was stupid or, you know, too out of the box. I never interviewed for Google or nothing like that, so, you know, I haven't had the liberty of getting one of those job interview questions. But no, not that Google interview questions are stupid, but, you know, they can be tricky, and so I heard. They can be tricky, and they can, you know, force you to think of different scenarios. But anyway, the trickiest question I've been asked that I can think of at the top of my head is, they asked me, they said, have you been interviewing lately? And I had to think about it. You know, personally at the time, I wasn't, okay? There wasn't a lot of interviews that was going on This was the first interview I've gotten in a few weeks, and you know, I was so happy to have it. But they asked me, they said, have you been interviewing lately? And I said yes. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I said yes. All right, here's why I said yes. It's because I want them to feel some sense of urgency. I want them to feel like, okay, this person have been interviewing. People are actively interested in this guy. So whatever decision we have to make as a company, we have to make it fast if we want him. Because obviously, he's been interviewing. Obviously, he's had some interest with other companies. Other companies are interested in him. So let's act fast. Let's give him a decision. Let's see if we're going to move him on to the next hiring process, okay? Because if I said no, then they're going to take their time. Okay, he's not interviewing. Nobody's really actively seeking for him. So let's take some time to interview some more people. Let's take some time to reach out to different candidates. You know, since he's not interviewing, he doesn't have any offers on the table, and you know, we can take our time. All right, I wanted to give them some sense of urgency as well. So I said, yes, I've been interviewing lately, and in fact, there's 2 companies that's interested in me. One has already given me an offer, but I wanted to come to this company because of this, this, and this. Okay, so you know, I painted that scenario for them. That way, they feel like they're under the gun, like they really have to go out there and actually hurry up and make a decision, you know, before someone takes me off the market. And at that moment, nobody was looking to take me off the market anyway, but I left an impression. So yeah, that was probably the trickiest question that I've been asked on my job interview journey so far. So, next question.
Do you need to bring business cards to a networking event?
Now, this is a great question. All right, so me personally, okay, I live in 2017. That's the world I live in right now. In the world I live in, me personally, business cards don't live in that world, okay? Like, I can remember being in college, or, you know, going to all these different conferences, UNCF, Alpha, you name it, a bunch of different conferences, leadership conferences. I was there. And I can remember just collecting a bunch of business cards. Okay, I'll get back to my room, I'll pull out 20 business cards. Guess what I did with those? Sat those right there on the table, never looked at them again. Never, okay? Never. Because just think about it. The last time you've been to a conference, unless it was somebody who really made an impact, and it was somebody who can really help you that night at that given time, you forget all about those business cards by the time you reach your room, okay? You wake up the next day and you're looking through the cards, you're like, who's John? Who's Bill? You don't know any of these people. You don't know how you met them, because you met so many people. You've done so much in that day. And following up on business cards and saying, hey, you know, this is Dave. I remember you from... who actually does that? I know I don't personally. A lot of you, now business cards may work for you. You guys may have closed deals and got jobs and stuff like that from business cards. But for me, I don't think business cards are even necessary. And a lot of people spend time on that. A lot of people deem you as professional if you have your business card, you have your fancy business card and stuff like that. You know, you switched it up, you made it into a circle instead of a rectangle. You know, me personally, I don't deal with business cards, because I just look at myself and my actions. Like, I don't look at business cards, and the people I know, the circle I'm in, they don't look at business cards. Okay, you can hand out business cards all day, every day. It's like that person that's on the, you know, on the corner of Manhattan giving you a flyer for $5 off your next slice of pizza at, you know, at Joe's Pizza Shop. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get that flyer, you're gonna crumble up, you're gonna throw it out, or you're gonna see it later on in the day and you're gonna be like, oh, you're never gonna act on it. Okay, so I don't do that. If I'm interacting with somebody and they can, you know, they could benefit me, and I feel like we can sort of build a relationship and it can go into the future and it could be something, you know, of longevity, then I'll get their Twitter right then and there. What's your Twitter? You know, what's your Facebook? And I'll send them a message right then and there. Okay, I'll do that. I'll make that connection. I'll make that interaction right there, instead of waiting next week. You know, the business card is stuck to the bottom of my shoe and I'm like, oh, I should contact this guy, and then he doesn't know who I am. Do we have to rekindle that sort of conversation or what we talked about because he met so many people? I don't do that, okay? I close right then and there. I'll get your Twitter, I'll get your Facebook. If you have a Twitter, if you don't have a Twitter and you don't have a Facebook and you don't have any social presence, I'm not gonna deal with you, because I live in a 2017 world, okay? And if you don't have any social media, you just got business cards, I don't want to do business with you. I don't want to do anything with you, to be honest, because as I mentioned, I'm living in the 2017 world. I'm living in the social world, and if you don't have a social presence, if you don't have an online presence, I have no business with you. So guys, with that being said, that wraps up episode number 4 of So What. I feel like that was a solid episode. I really liked the questions. The questions were great. If you guys want a question answered here on the show, make sure you use the hashtag So What. That's SOHWHAT, okay? Ask your question, you know, whether you're struggling with a job interview, whether you have a question coming up, you have a job interview coming up, you want to know how to network, you know, you name it, I'll be here to answer that for you. And don't forget, make sure you check out the Secrets of the Hire job board at secretsofthehire.com. And you can also check out my course, the Watch Me Get a Job Interview course, where you literally watch me get a job interview in front of your eyes. You know, I created a course. It's over 50 hours of, you know, videos and a bunch of resources out there. A lot of people, I made a thank you video actually, and a lot of people, you know, they show love, they show support, a lot of likes, a lot of shares. Really appreciate you guys. I worked hard in the course, and it feels great to know that a lot of people are seeing value in the course, and it's all thanks to you guys, man. So once again, I appreciate it. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next episode of So What. Peace out.